Welcome to The Weird Shack, the podcast that explores the weird and spooky. I'm Ollie Tobbles with my co-hosts, Reesky.
What's on?
Siege.
Hey, how's it going?
And Jordan with Stick.
What's up, Shackers?
And today we're talking about the Kraken and sea monsters.
And Chris's dad.
You might be there too. Anyway, you know Chris's family subscribe to this channel now, right?
I'll tell the story about Chris's dad.
Not right now, later.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a cryptid called the Cadborosaurus, right?
Cadburysaurus.
The Cadborosaurus, yeah.
Is he made out of chocolate?
He's dark. He is dark.
He's dark.
Anyway,
he's dark.
He is. He's not a light fish.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's more of a red eyes as opposed to a blue eyes.
Yeah. Anyway, he is described, or he or she, depends. Actually, I think it's got a female name. Anyway, it's described as a long serpent-like beast with front flippers, with back flippers and large front flippers. It has hair on its neck and has a camel-like head.
I thought you said it had a camel toe.
Yeah, for his trousers. For his flipper trousers.
Did it have a camel toe or a moose knuckle? We're not sure.
It was claimed to be about 40 to 70 foot long. So he's a long boy. He's a long boy.
How big?
Very
40 to
long
70?
40 to 70 foot long.
Fucking
yeah.
hell, mate.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
That's bigger than England, mate.
That's like 70 foot long, mate.
Yeah, true. It's pretty much.
It's like 70 whole feet.
In the last 200 years, there's been more than 300 sightings of this legendary creature. Creeper!
He comes out of a cave, you hear a hissing noise.
Okay, so a man named Dr. Edward Blousfield, a retired chief zoologist from a Canadian Museum of Nature, stated every elongated animal that has been put forward as an explanation for Caddy, its nickname, they've been like animals like conger eels,
Right.
humpback, Reese's favourite, humpback whales, elephant seals, a thing called a ribbon.
Ribbon?
Yeah.
Is that a ribbon eel? That's a type of eel.
Possibly, yeah. Or just a big red bit of string in the water. Or oarfish, basking sharks, and sea lions. No known creature matches the characteristics found in the 200 sightings over the last century. So there's been 300 claimed sightings during the last 200 years. Places like Island View Beach, Cadboro Bay, which is called the Cadborosaurus, which is weird. Pennsylvania, British Columbia, San Francisco Bay. In 1943, two police officers, a dude called Inspector Robert Owens and Staff Sergeant Jack Russell, saw a...
Nah, this is fake, mate. Everything else was believable, but then when that one fucking policeman was called Jack Russell, nah.
Taking this too
saw
far.
a huge serpent with a horse-like head in Georgia Strait, I think it's called, Strait.
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess that's how it's pronounced. Later, with a pair of binoculars, Sergeant Jack Russell saw a strange apparition with saw that the strange apparition was a huge bull sea lion with a herd of 6 sea lions following them.
Oh.
As they swam, They were like surfacing and diving in separate, like in like a wave kind of thing. So it looked like it was like going like a big like long boy.
Yeah, it was going like a big long boy. Yeah.
Big long boy.
No, I know what you mean. Like if you think of like a stereotypical like those old sea serpent images where they've got like arches coming out of the water.
Yeah, like a bit of their backs coming out, then their fucking asses coming out and stuff.
Yeah, their assholes hanging out.
Yeah. Anyway, the some have been thought to be giant garfish. Or oarfish as well. Some suggestions have been that caddy could be a giant oarfish. The species can reach to 17 meters in length.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was meters and not foot. Maybe I wrote it down wrong.
You said 70 feet before.
Did I say 70 feet? Maybe it was...
I
just put 40, 70.
Meters,
it might be meters or foot. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure 70 meters is like massive.
Yeah, that's like, that's like the size of 2 Englands.
Anyway, I'm not sure it's one of those. It might be meters. It's probably meters. But then it's a massive monster.
I'd say feet.
I'd say feet as well. Let's go with feet. And it can be 17 meters in length and weigh up to 300 kilograms. They're long and silvery boys. And they swim like serpents through the water, like how the typical like.
Oh, oarfish,
yeah. Basking sharks. A carcass of a decomposing basking shark is often mistaken for caddy, and has fooled some experts. A rotting basking shark also resembles a decomposing plesiosaur.
Yeah. I think me and Reese have mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Where when whales and basking sharks decompose, they like leave like the bridge of the nose like out, like where it like connects to the rib cage, and like only that bit is left, so it looks like a long neck with like a little bubbly bit at the end, like a head.
Yeah. Pipefish. A small group of people argued that a baby Cadabosaurus was captured in 1968 by William Haglund.
Close enough.
William Haglund.
Haglund. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or Hagelund. It was a pipefish.
It was just a pipefish.
You thought it was a baby one, but it was just pipefish. Carcasses.
William Haglund and Jack Russell revealing the secrets.
Carcasses associated with him. The thing was called the Ethelham carcass. It was Vancouver Island in 1947. Supposed remains of a caddy. Yeah, they found just a Ethelham carcass, whatever the fuck that is. In 1930, on November 10th, at Glacier Island near Valdez, a skeleton was found in the ice. The skeleton was 24 feet long. There we go. 24 feet long with flippers. Some of the remains were preserved in Cordova for scientific studies, and the creature is thought to be a whale. In 1934, in November, on Henry Island near Prince Rupert. What? I guess there's a place called Prince Rupert. Okay.
No, it's just a guy.
Shut up.
He really likes sea monsters.
He's really close to it all the time. A badly decomposed remains of a 30-foot long creature was identified as a basking shark by a guy called Dr. Neil Carter. He examined them and was like, "That's a basking shark, mate."
Yeah, that ain't a pipefish. That's a basking shark.
1937, in October, a purported, which means appearing to be stated or true. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's a weird word.
A caddy carcass was received from a stomach of a sperm whale in a place called Naden Harbour and photographed. A sample of this carcass was sent to the BC Museum, where it was identified as a fetal baleen whale by the museum director.
Oh, so it was just a pregnant whale.
Yeah.
It was a sperm whale.
It was sperm. It was inside the stomach of a sperm whale.
So the sperm whale ate the
little whale.
Yeah.
It ate its baby.
Baby.
In 1941, a carcass called Sarah the Sea Hag was found in Kitsilano Beach. W.A. Clemens and Ian McTaggart Cowan identified it as a shark.
William Haglund was there. Jack Russell had his binoculars out.
McTaggart Cowan. In 1947, in December, Vernon Bay, Berkeley Sound, Vancouver Island, a 45-foot long creature was found. It was identified as a shark. These are like what people think could have been Caddy.
Right.
In
so a lot of it's like
1956
unidentified corpses.
Yeah. But people are like, that's probably a shark.
That's probably a pipefish, mate. It's
near
40 feet long. Yeah, it's a fucking big pipefish.
Somewhere near Dry Harbor, South Yucatan, Alaska, 100-foot long carcass was found with 2-inch long hair. Trevor Klinkade is quoted as saying, "Fits no known creature."
There's a thing with that hair, as they call it. It's just to do with how like whale corpses decompose. They have like this stage where, like, as the blubber's decomposing, it looks like hair-like strands.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have since been like, oh yeah, man, it's just a big pipefish. You know, they've realised it's like a thing that happens through the decomposing process of like a whale. They get like this woolly-like appearance.
So it wasn't seaweed.
It's like white.
Okay.
It's like white because it's like the blubber, and it looks all stringy. It is really weird looking. And if you didn't have any idea what it was, I could definitely see you being like, "Oh, that's a fucking monster."
Anyway, the guy W.A. Clements comes back. He identified the carcass as a bird's-beaked whale. But then Trevor was like, "It's no known creature."
Nah, mate. No known creature.
Nah, Clemens, no known creature.
Sounds like all these like things are just being debunked.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like what they've said.
Yeah.
But Chris, wait. Apparently, there's live captures.
Oh my days.
What about Jack Russell? He's there in the back with his binocs.
He's dead, probably.
Nah, he's not dead. He can't die. He lives on in the heart of every Jack Russell Terrier.
So he would be like, like 80. No, he would. Yeah, he'd be 83 right now.
Yeah, he's still going. He looks the same though. He hasn't aged a day.
Yeah.
He's just an immortal being who just wanders around with his binoculars sighting elephant seals.
Alright, in 1962, in April near the wild Pacific Ocean, a 14-foot long carcass was found with an elephant-like head. The carcass was dragged ashore by Simon Peters and later thought to be an elephant seal. In 1963, in September, near Oak Harbor, Whidbey Island, a carcass was found with a head resembling a horse. A.D. Wellander of Fisheries thought it was a basking shark. He thought it was.
He had a feeling.
So, apparently, alive captures.
Okay. Is it just all pipefish?
No.
Oh, I think I've caught sea monster. Here it is in my bucket, my plastic bucket that I bought from Seaside Shop.
1968 in August. W. Haglung, he's back. Haglung claimed to have caught a baby caddy near Decorte Island. That was it.
That's it. He just claimed.
In 1991.
He never let go of that dream.
In 1991, in July, on John's Island, it's a place called Sand Dune Islands. A guy called Phyllis Harsh claimed to have caught a small 2-foot baby caddy, but he returned it. And that was it. So yeah, that's my whole take.
Wait, so what's this thing called? Cadbury sauce or something?
It's called the Cadborosaurus.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I was just looking up a picture of it, so I knew what the fuck I was looking at. It is fucking weird looking.
No, I've got to have a little search of it now.
The thing about it being an oversized gar and that reminds me of the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people theorise that the Loch Ness Monster was a sturgeon that had got caught in the lake, in the loch, and it had grown huge, because sturgeon can get ridiculously big. And when they get really big, they have quite a pointy snout, and it sort of goes up and it bends a bit. And if it was putting its snout out of the water, someone could probably see that as a Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Along with the whole thing that seems to be so common is people misinterpreting distances when they see things. It's a lot of the stories behind the Beast of Bodmin Moor is people just seeing black cats and thinking they're further away than they actually are.
Yeah, you said about this before.
Yeah.
I remember this.
So that seems to be a really common thing in sightings. Oh yeah, we saw this thing, it was fucking huge. It was quite far away though, we couldn't really tell, but it was huge.
In reality, it's just like a floating sock.
Yeah, it's just a black cat in a field, and they're like, oh, it's the fucking Beast of Bodmin Moor. That's a field right next to your house. Yeah, it's the Beast of Bodmin Moor. That's your own cat, mate. You have a black cat.
So in most of these sightings with the Cadbury sauce, it seems to be more or less just around America, is that right? Or, in the ocean surrounding the continent of America.
A little bit, yeah.
Is there
quite
any
a lot of California.
Is there any sightings anywhere else that you could find, like England or anything, the UK or anything like that?
No. He likes warm water, boy.
Warm water.
He likes it warm. I saw old Cadburysaurus the other day. He's moved over to the US seas. He likes it warm.
Just looking at a picture of it now, it is a proper funky looking camel thing,
Yeah. Well, that's someone's take. You're probably looking at the model. That's someone's take on what it looks like.
There's a lot of there's those paintings.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a kelpie, being described as horse-headed. Reminds me of the kelpie. Because that was always described as being horse-like, wasn't it?
I don't know.
The kelpie's I think it's a Scottish monster.
Okay.
I'm just looking up stuff about it now. Yeah, there's a big sculpture in Falkirk called the Kelpies, and there's these two huge horse heads. But it's supposed to be this shapeshifter that lures people into their deaths, drowning them in the sea type thing. Kind of like a siren type idea, but it can shapeshift into different things. There's a really creepy webcomic out there someone did about a kelpie, which maybe we could post a thing about.
Yeah.
Did you want me to go on to my bit of research about Le Kraken?
Okay, Christopher.
Well, yeah, as I said, my research has all been about the Kraken. I'm pretty sure everybody more or less knows what the Kraken is.
Yeah, you did all that research for it when we were doing Bigfoot that time, didn't you?
Mate, they're pretty much the same guy, right? I'll come out and say it now. This surprised me as well. The Kraken is originally from Scandinavian sort of folklore. I did a bit of research about it being in Greek mythology, and that traditionally it's not in any Greek mythology.
Right.
I know the Greek god, I think it was Poseidon, had an underwater monster, etc., but that wasn't the Kraken apparently. But Yeah, anyway, so it's basically based on Nordic folklore or Scandinavian folklore. It was said that basically haunted the seas from Norway through Iceland and all the way up to Greenland. So basically in the North Atlantic Ocean.
That was a Kraken.
So, you know, it got around, you know. He was having a cracking good time. Basically, the Kraken had a knack for harassing ships, fishing ships, and including official naval reports, that apparently was said to attack naval armed vessels. Those were only reports. I couldn't actually find any evidence to back that up, though. And it would use its long arms or its tentacles to basically attack and damage the ships, and apparently if that failed it would often swim around in sort of a circular motion underneath the ship or around the ship to create a fierce maelstrom to drag the said ship down, apparently. I don't think that would work at all.
I reckon that's coincidental. They saw a big squid and then they went into a whirlpool and they're like, shit, the squid did it. He used his witchcraft.
Oh man. It was said that the Kraken would eat all of the crew on board the ship. But despite that, apparently, in the area where a Kraken was, loads of like schools of fish would be swimming around it. Which used to be like a fishing lure for fishermen, essentially, because they'd have a massive bounteous catch.
Catch!
Catch!
Come on, boys, we're gonna get out there and get that big catch.
I'll go on a bit about the history of it, though. It basically goes back to an account written in 1180 to 1200 by King. I'll probably butcher this guy's name. King Sverre or Sverre.
Oh yeah, Jack Russell.
Norway. Yep. No, there's no Russell in the story. Good man though.
A hero among us.
But basically, the accounts characterised its sort of the look of the Kraken, its feeding habits. But a lot of people.
Was it humans?
A lot of people in modern day times now suggest that the account that the King Sverre wrote about was based on the sighting of a giant squid.
Yeah.
Obviously, back during those times, you know, you didn't have any torches or flashlights or spotlights on your boats or sonar, etc. Obviously.
Yeah.
So, you know, going out into the ocean, I bet would have been a terrifying experience for any sailor if they saw something that they'd never seen before, or any sort of creature that they'd never even heard of or had no knowledge of.
I'd be terrified to do that shit today. I wouldn't go out at night.
Yeah,
and shit
sure.
Like in the sea.
I'm not really a boat person myself.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
But I mean, any encounter with an animal in the ocean does seem to turn into sort of a mythological story from sailor stories, basically.
Yeah.
Like you've got all the other things like sirens and things like that as well.
Yeah. Like mermaids. A lot of people think that they were either seals or like manatees, and
the myth of the Kraken basically lasted all the way up to the 18th century, when a gentleman, I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, Carl Linnaeus, father of modern biological classification, he included the Kraken among the cephalopod mollusks in the first edition of his groundbreaking Systema Naturae. That was in 1735. I believe that was just sort of like a book of all the different cephalopods that had no identification at the time.
That's interesting. So they knew it was like, oh yeah, this is similar to octopus or squid. They could tell that much.
Yeah, but basically, it's like a book. I would imagine like a book of assumptions, maybe. You know,
Yeah.
they're assuming it's similar to that, and it was like Europe's first modern scientific survey of it.
Mhm.
One of Europe's first ones, anyway. In 1853, a giant cephalopod, if I'm pronouncing that correctly,
Yeah, that's right.
was found stranded on a Danish beach. A Norwegian naturalist by the name of, oh boy, Japetus Steenstrup discovered the animal's beak and used it to scientifically describe a giant squid.
Mm.
So I would imagine any locals would have immediately thought it would have been a kraken,
Yeah.
and this guy just came along. He's like, "Nah, mate, giant squid."
Big squid net.
But
Pipefish, mate.
for years, people speculated that the kraken was just a hunter and would not be hunted by anything.
Mm.
But apparently, on sperm whales, out of all of things, they have sort of been found on certain sperm whales are old scars on the skin.
Yeah.
That would suggest like they've been attacked by a large sort of tentacled beast.
Yeah.
Since you've got like scratches that go from one end all the way to the other end, sort of thing.
They also will find in the stomachs of sperm whales, they will find the beaks.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to
Yeah.
say. Out of my mouth. But in 2005, they caught footage of a giant squid. Well, the Japanese caught footage of a giant squid, and found that the giant squid are very fast and agile swimmers as well.
Yeah.
And reports are that the kraken would appear and disappear within a matter of minutes after doing what it did, sort of thing.
Yeah. They come and cast its spells.
Yeah.
It would summon
So
a
basically,
whirlpool.
it'd pop up and disappear as quick as he came. So, and also apparently a characteristic of the kraken, when a kraken would appear, the water surrounding the area of where it's spotted would be black.
Mm.
And obviously, certain squids,
Yeah.
from what I believe, do squirt out black ink when they're in danger or to avoid danger or to escape or something like
Yeah,
that. or
yeah.
to
It's
confuse its prey as well.
yeah. It's a defense mechanism. They feel
But,
threatened.
From all the research I've done, though, more or less all sightings have always been in the Atlantic Ocean or around Scandinavia, that sort of area. I did do a bit of research into like the Greek kraken, but that's when I found out it's not a traditional Greek beast.
Yeah.
I believe it was just popularised in that movie, more or less, Jason and the Argonauts. I think it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
Good movie, by the way.
That's interesting.
I mean, I even asked my wife if she knew about the kraken and if there was anything like that in Thailand. She'd never even heard of it. So.
Right.
But she's usually not really into cryptids or sea monsters or any.
She
sort
knew
of
about the
monsters,
Bigfoot
really.
though.
Yeah, she knew about the cabbage squinch.
Yeah.
She knew about that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's more or less a common knowledge thing, I'd say, because you know, giant monkeys and all.
Yeah.
You're very quiet, Reese.
Yeah, just listening.
Taking it all in.
Thought you passed out, mate.
He got really scared thinking about the ability to summon the whirlpool.
Yeah, that's so far fetched. Can you imagine? Oh, we've beaten the kraken. Wait,
Wait.
ball's rotating.
Oh no, he's using his
Sinking.
powers. He's swimming so fast in a circle, he's making a whirlpool.
Such speed.
It's like in modern day, because you just like imagine that as a scenario. It's like it's very hard to believe, isn't it?
That's so hard to believe.
There's.
But
Sorry,
Go on.
carry on. Yeah, you carry on.
there has been footage. I've seen certain videos on YouTube where like deep sea submarines and that have captured footage of like a squid darting off when it's just been caught on the camera. They must be camera shy.
Yeah.
There was a video that I saw years ago. I couldn't find it. I was trying to find it. It's like it was of a drilling rig, or or a drilling platform.
Yeah.
And around the drilling platform, you just see sort of these tentacles just off on the camera edge, just sort of come by. Or
Yeah, I've seen that video before. Yeah,
I just couldn't find it.
it's weird because like in the 2000s, it's only recently that we've actually got like footage of giant squids like in the wild. Like usually, whenever we found proof of them, it's been a dead body that's been washed up or caught in a fishing line. You know, it's
That's the crazy bit. There's so many corpses of giant squid that have washed up as well.
Yeah. Yeah, initially that was the only real proof anyone had that they actually existed. But I mean, it's understandable, like people thinking that they're like a monster, because it's like when you think of them, they are like a huge squid, and the fact that they've got a beak is really weird to think about. Like to think about how squid have beaks.
Yeah, like birds' beaks.
Yeah, they are really weird. Like if you look at pictures of these giant squid beaks, they are very creepy to look at. I can understand why, if you didn't understand what a squid was, or you know, if that they had beaks, that you could see these as being monsters.
Yeah, they do seem like really otherworldly.
To be fair, whenever I look
Especially
at a squid, I just see lunch.
That's it.
Yeah, you just get an erection.
Have you seen a squid with its beak though?
What?
Have you ever seen a squid with a beak?
I have.
Yeah. Just looks like a bird
I've only
beak,
seen
you know?
like I've only seen like Google.
Big Dave showed me it one time.
Big Dave.
My dad.
Classic Big Dave.
Ooh, classic Big Dave.
Oh, come over here, son. Let me
He
show you
actually
something.
did, he actually did. He like pried its lips apart.
Oh, Dad! What's this? What's going on? Oh, look here, son. Look, this squid has beak and mouth.
It was ink all over his arm.
All right, me mucker, come over here and look at squid.
Yeah. Alright, sausage, come here, Marco. Yeah.
Poor Squidward.
Anyway, I have found a really spooky story.
Okay.
No
I'm gonna
way.
read it to you guys,
No.
okay?
I don't believe
No, I actually have.
Is Jack Russell in it?
No.
Can you
Oh,
can you
what?
insert him
That's
into the story?
Okay. You guys ready?
I'm ready to be creeped.
There was a lot of excitement at Shaggy's house. A student from Romania was coming to stay. Shaggy and Scooby didn't know anything about Romania, so Velma brought them some books to read.
This is the Scooby-Doo thing. Okay, just that took me right out of it. It starts, it's usually like Shaggy, and then it's like Scooby. It's like, okay. And then Ollie read a Scooby-Doo book, but we cut that bit out because it wasn't really relevant.
Just when they
So,
thought they...
what's the point of reading this shit?
Alright, I think Reese is getting upset. We'll stop the story. I'm going to cut all this out.
What, the Scooby-Doo story?
Yeah, I think Reese
Why
liked
were
it.
you telling us the Scooby-Doo story?
I
Yeah.
don't know, I thought I'd add to the suspense.
Wait, were you
Where
trying
the
to make
fuck
the
was
video
it?
longer by
Where
any chance?
was- Where did you find
I've got
this
a book.
shit?
I've got a book, mate.
You just read it from a book,
Yeah, I've got a little
a
book.
children's book.
It's got stickers at the back.
Fucking hell, mate.
Fucking hell.
What the fuck
Fucking
was
hell.
this shit?
One of the
might as
things
well
from
let you
McDonald's.
fucking-
Why
is
did
it?
you think
Yeah.
that was a thing to do?
Oh, fucking hell. What is
You
going
completely
on?
derailed everything. We were actually talking about the Kraken, and then you were like, nah, guys, I'm going to read from this McDonald's Scooby-Doo book.
No, it is.
If it was like a Kraken related Scooby-Doo book, like a scene.
What if I
like,
changed?
one,
What if I
fair
changed?
enough,
What if I changed
but-
the werewolf to a kraken?
Yeah, let's change
Nah, it didn't work
Andre
anymore.
to the Kraken.
I don't think Krakens are scared of wolfbait, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
it
we
is.
had to
Kill
go to the
spoons.
airport to pick up the Kraken.
All right, let's get back on track.
Ruh-roh, Raggy, I don't think the Kraken's a good guy.
Anyway, stop. All right. So, water.
Where were you,
creatures.
Chris?
Huh?
Whereabouts were you before this Scooby shit happened?
I can't remember, to be honest. I don't remember what I spoke about.
I reckon we should keep all that Scooby-Doo shit in. It was pretty funny. It's completely irrelevant to everything else.
Well, Reese wanted to do spooky stories, didn't he?
I think I'd more or less finished
Yeah.
my Kraken segment anyway.
Does that mean it's my turn to tell my story about a creepy ocean-dwelling creature?
Well, before we go off of that, did you know that the earliest descriptions of the Kraken were more of like a crab-like creature than squid or octopus?
I've never heard that.
Shit my ass. I've never heard that. No.
Yeah.
Is it that big crab that's in that picture based on that
Might
one
be,
picture?
Might be.
That one's clearly a hoax.
That's clearly real.
Mm.
But yeah, then it went on to being like octopus, squid-like creatures.
Well, it's quite interesting. I don't know if any of you guys ever played Age of Mythology back in the day, but the Norse faction in Age of Mythology had the Kraken as a unit. It was a seafaring unit. It was very good at taking down ships.
Did it circle them?
But I remember when I saw that when I was younger, I was like, oh, why the fuck do the Norse have the Kraken as a unit? I thought it would be the Greek thing.
Do you know if
But it makes sense now. It all makes sense.
Mr. Lovecraft designed Cthulhu off the Kraken? Like,
Probably.
Definitely inspired it by it a bit.
Yeah.
I reckon.
He was
Took inspiration.
he had a lot of fucking mental issues and stuff, and
He was a messed up guy.
he was a massive racist as well.
was he?
Really hated
What if-
black people. Really hated them.
Oh, really?
Really,
Yeah, it's
really
present in a
hated
lot of his
black
stories.
Krakens.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a massive racist. Well, he was. Obviously, he's dead now.
What if where he got all the depictions of Cthulhu and that from was actual Cthulhu sending him fucking mind wavy shit?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe he just took a wank on a cloth and it came out of an image that looked a bit like Cthulhu. He just drew around. I want all creative ideas to be the result of like a splodge on a piece of paper.
That's like seeing Jesus on your toast, man.
That was the thing, actually. Have you
Jesus on
guys
your toast.
ever seen Ruby, that series by Rooster Teeth?
No.
The guy that
Nope.
created it to come up with the continent of the world, like this fictional world, he just used a ketchup splotch that was on his like napkin for having a meal. That was the map for the world. And now
Weird.
that series is like ridiculously popular. But it's funny just to think of like a ketchup splotch being the idea for the world. Maybe that's what he did.
Pretty much how I came up with the idea to marry my wife.
Yeah. You're having a wank.
How much of this is getting cut out, by the way?
All of it. None of it.
None of it. It's all canon.
Alright, Reese,
Shit.
we got. Bask us with some sea creature knowledge.
Well, the Kraken on Hokkaido in Ainu. Is it Ainu? I can't remember how it's said, but Ainu folklore is like an equivalent to the Kraken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I know now. Yeah. I
Yeah,
had to think about.
Oh,
it for
they
a
got their
minute
own version.
yeah. It supposedly lurks in Funka Bay on Hokkaido.
Okay.
Like also, it's mainly like as I say in the Ainu folklore with I've incorporated it from like the Shinto stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like seen as like a minor kami or minor god. Like
He's a cool guy.
yeah, it's got like the normal sort of like octopus type abilities, like able to self amputate and
Yeah.
regenerate its limbs and shit, but it's just a strange
That's cool.
fan has one.
This episode's been a weird one.
This is the most weirdest episode yet.
It's because the Kraken isn't classed as a real thing, isn't it?
Well, it is a real thing.
It's not. It's had
It's just now we know what
weird
it is.
sightings. Yeah.
It's been misrepresented.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good example of like a thing being like this mythological creature, and then later on, as we advance in science, we learn what it actually is.
Yeah.
Like we think, oh, the Kraken is this huge fucking squid. It comes out and it rips your ship in half.
Yeah.
And
I'll put it this way, right? If you think about it, a kraken is similar to an elephant.
Yeah.
Now, think about it this way.
Yeah.
When the Romans first started, like, you know, going around conquering everybody and all of its neighbours, and they started seeing elephants for the first time, they probably thought it was some weird mythological monster.
Did it
at first sight.
rip up the carts and drag them into the sand?
Probably like pit soldiers up and threw them around with his trunk, I guess. I don't know.
Circled them and made them into
But
sand
you know,
pit.
any creature that you've never seen or have any knowledge of, etc., anything could be mythological at that point, because you might survive the encounter or whatever, and then you go back and you start telling people it had the trunk the size of a, I don't know, my arm.
My arm.
Tiny.
My arm.
Yeah, the trunk like my arm.
But you know, anything that you don't know can be like a mythological thing. Like when people have the weird encounters in the forest, maybe it's an undiscovered thing that nobody's ever seen, there's no knowledge of.
Yeah.
That person that's just seen it runs back to tell everyone, but everyone just thinks he's a wacko.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I've mentioned before, the whole thing with foxes and how their cries are so weird that people didn't used to think, oh, that's a fox, because they didn't know that was what it was coming from. So, like, if you hear that, you think that's a spirit, you think that's a weird monster out in the woods making this weird noise.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Kraken. The Kraken's just a giant squid, but we just didn't know what a giant squid was.
What was that, Race?
As they say, like most, or if not all, legends and mythology stuff is based on some sort of thing what actually did happen.
Mm-hmm.
As you're saying, like the Kraken, based on either the colossal or the giant.
Yeah. Yeah. Colossal squid are fucking creepy.
Oh, I saw a thing when I was researching the vampire squid.
Mm.
Weird.
Yeah, weird looking as well.
Yeah, they're weird. They're like, it's like a weird like dress, and they like invert themselves, and they like collect like, I think it's called just like sea dust or something.
Sea dust.
I've never heard of a vampire.
It's probably
not?
it's probably plankton and stuff.
No, I've never heard of a vampire.
Yeah, it's a big,
we'll put a picture up.
Big red squid.
Yeah.
Dying a bit, Jordan.
Yeah, sorry, I'm dying a bit.
Yeah, it's like really fangy, and it like inverts itself, and then it like eats everything in its place.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't think it eats creatures.
No, I think it's mostly just like it catches small organisms.
Yeah. Sea dust.
Yeah, bit of the old sea dust.
Yeah,
that's what pipefish eat. Pipefish eat that.
All right.
Sorry, I was going to say something about the colossal squid.
Okay.
Because the colossal squid has like hooks in its feathers. Mm-hmm. So a lot of squids just have the suction pads, but the colossal squid has like these hooked claws in its tentacles. So there was a point in time where we were finding sperm whale like washed up on the beach, and they would have these scars on them, like Chris mentioned earlier. Regular giant squid will leave marks just with their suckers, where they are literally grabbing on that hard with like their suction pads, that they leave a scar. On the sperm whale, which is like just blubber as well, so it's like ridiculously thick. But the colossal squid has spikes as well, so there was a point where we would literally just find sperm whale with these weird spikes in them. We were like, we don't know what this is. We just didn't know what it was. And again, that's what it is, isn't it? It's like, I think the Kraken is like probably the modern day, like the best example of how over time science has advanced to a level where we can explain these things that at one time were a myth, like a legendary creature. Like maybe one day. Because, I mean, there's a lot of like stuff today that is unexplained to a degree, like a lot of ththese supposed alien encounters and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll learn about that. Maybe
Bigfoot's like a very rare species.
Maybe Bigfoot's a government experiment. I reckon that's what it is. I reckon he's a government experiment.
all around the world.
Yeah.
In, like,
everyone's trying to replicate it. It's like coronavirus, right? Coronavirus is probably
Whoa, we're gonna get demonetized.
Well, so someone makes a Bigfoot, right? The government makes a Bigfoot, and they're like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a super soldier." It's like Marvel, right? It's the Captain America, but in the real world, is Bigfoot.
Yeah,
he's just a very hairy version.
Well, I guess like they tried to like mix the DNA of like a gorilla and a man to like try and make a super strong human, right? Like a superhuman. But it just came out as a big furry guy who just wanted to eat berries in the woods and fucking wank all the time, so he smells like smegma.
So you're telling me that he's a super soldier monkey man, and he's escaped from every single place in the world that he's been made.
Yeah. So other countries were like, "Oh shit, America's made super gorilla men. We better get on that shit."
He's got out. He's
got out. Well, maybe just some of them got out, and they had a lot of them. You know, there could be loads of them.
There's so many signs
in Area 51. Is it Area 51?
Yeah, Area 51.
Yeah.
In Area 51, there's just loads of fucking Bigfoots in there, but they're the ones that didn't get away, and they're like fucking super soldiers. And there'll be a time in the future where there'll be some intergalactic threat that's coming to the planet.
Oh, shut up.
Donald Trump will be like...
It's not the Avengers, mate.
Donald Trump's going to be like, there's some aliens attacking the planet. We're going to need to send out the Bigfoots to fight them. And there's going to be these Bigfoots with like fucking miniguns on their arms. Mowing down the aliens.
Oh, Jesus, man.
I think we got off topic.
I might call
here,
this
boy.
episode the
Don't
fucking
worry, Americans. The big
stupid episode.
The Bigfoots are coming out.
Just call it Sea Monsters and What the Fuck or something like that.
Sea Monsters plus Scooby-Doo plus Jack Russell equal good episode? Question mark.
Well, you wanted to make a stupid episode.
I didn't want to make a stupid episode. Mate, you're the one that got the fucking Scooby-Doo book out. You fucking...
It's true, yeah, he's got a point.
And we were all just sat there like, oh yeah, I guess this is content.
If anyone wants the Weird Shack to start scripting stories out and we'll be different characters each, please comment below.
If anyone wants us to read all of the Scooby-Doo material that exists in the world, in character...
Reese can play Daphne.
Yeah, Reese would be a fucking good Daphne. I've always thought that about Reese, you know?
Yeah.
But Chris would be a fantastic Velma. I mean,
I do wear glasses.
he's got that fucking Velma energy every time I see him. Every time I see him, I'm like, fucking hell, man, you should be Velma.
So, when it's been so busy at work, right? April's been well busy with me.
She's gonna run and rip your arm off.
It's been so busy, like when kids leave Fred toys on the table. I've collected them. So I was in the car the other day.
How many fucking Fred toys do you have now?
Wait. I found a Velma. I was like, oh man, I'm having that. Then I found a Shaggy. No, not Shaggy. A Scooby. So I was like, I'm having that. And started finding Freds one day. And I was in the car and I was like, April, look what I got. I pulled out a Velma and she was like, oh, cool. And I pulled out a Scooby and I was like, oh. And she was like, oh, cool. And I pulled out Fred and she was like, oh, nice, you got one. I was like, yeah. And then I pulled out 5 more. and then the next day she was like, you better not come in with any Freds. And I pulled out 2 more. I've got 8 Freds now.
Seriously, what's this got to do? What's this got to do with fucking Kraken?
We need to keep this in. It's hilarious.
I'm just saying a cool story.
It's a cool story. This is just like, hey guys, you want to learn about the hosts behind Weird Shack? This is us. This is our real life.
Yeah, we could do.
This is the story we live.
There's only one who can decide how this story is. Reese, what's your opinion on
Yeah,
this?
Reese, are we keeping this in?
Yeah, might as well. Might as well just keep it all in. Why the fuck not?
Am I allowed to call people shackers still? Are you on board with that yet? Or?
Well, as the time of recording this one, the last episode what we recorded isn't out yet. One where you wasn't around for.
I was dead at the time.
Yeah. Well, I thought at the end of the letter I'd take over your role of saying goodbye to the Shackers.
Yeah.
Mate, Reese is on board. Reese is on board for the Shackers.
So we got Reese is our go-to management. We need to run everything by Reese.
Yeah, Reese is like the filter. That's why when you were reading the Scooby-Doo story, Reese was the one who was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And we were all just like, "Yeah, I love the Scooby-Doo story. It's gonna be the best episode yet."
I'm not gonna lie, I sort of zoned out at first with it, and then like,
What's going on?
I came back and I was
What's
like,
going on?
"Wait,
My
what's that?"
reset
And it
is
said
going
about
on.
Scooby-Doo shit. I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'm sorry.
I mean, if it was related to the Kraken, it would have been alright, but it was completely out of nowhere.
I didn't say it was a Kraken story. I just said it was a story.
A spooky story is
you
what you
guys were
said.
like, yeah.
No. What you said is, guys, I've got a spooky story, and we were like, okay, yeah, this would be good.
I
Yeah,
So,
I think there's probably something to
Scooby
do with the
Shaggy.
Kraken.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, maybe it's a creepypasta or something.
It was pretty creepy.
But then Ollie was just like, oh yeah, Shaggy was thinking about renting a film. It's like, that was such a stupid story as well, because like, in what Scooby-Doo story does fucking Shaggy and Scooby do everything?
Yeah, take the lead. The Scooby and Shaggy show. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Where
Yeah,
it's just
what,
him, Scrappy, and Shaggy.
is that the red shirt Shaggy?
No, that's the 13 Ghosts, mate. My
13
Scooby
Ghosts.
knowledge.
13 Ghosts is like is Daphne just like the Daphne, Velma and Fred of that?
Yeah, pretty much. She's like the leader. Well, there's Flim Flam. Flim Flam's like...
Yeah, I was trying to remember his name.
Yeah,
I was like, who's that fucking random kid that's with him?
Flim Flam was like... He was just another Scrappy, really.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this Scrappy's pretty fucking good.
Oh no, he was quite Velma-y, to be fair.
Oh, was he? Was he
He
the
was
Velma?
like, we need to... He was like a Fred Velma.
He was a Fred Velma, and Daphne was just
Daphne
Daphne,
was a
but with different hair.
A Daphne Fred.
He was a Daphne Fred. So who was Daphne?
Daphne was a Daphne Fred. She was both of them together.
Daphne was Daphne and Fred, and
She was
Flim
like the
Flam was
leader.
Velma and
Yeah.
Fred.
Yeah,
was
kind
the-
of. So Flim Flam made all the traps and stuff.
Oh, I was like,
And
he's
took-
definitely the Fred then.
Yeah, but Velma, Daphne was the charge. Took charge. She was the charge.
Yeah, they split Fred into two halves, one being the half
Yeah.
of
Flim
makes
Flam.
the traps, and the other half being the leader.
Flim Flam comes back in the newest film.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Not Scoob.
Oh,
Yeah.
not the one where they're all voiced by celebrities, because that's something that Hollywood does now.
Yeah. Well,
You're like, oh, do you remember those iconic voice actors for these characters? Yeah, fuck them. Let's get some celebrities in so people come and watch it because they care about the celebrity. That's what we want.
I'm gonna call this episode Kraken and Scooby Doo. I think
Yeah, Kraken do.
Kraken do. Yeah.
Have like the picture of all your friends. And
Yeah, we need a picture of this of just your pile of Freds.
All right, so I'm going to call this episode here. What would everyone like to do for the next episode? We need to really sort it out next time, though.
Chris's dad probably,
No.
or I could just fit that in here if you want. I just do the backstory behind
Go on,
Chris's
then.
dad.
Go on then, give us a little backstory of Chris's dad whilst we're here.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a backstory of me, Dad.
So, once upon a time, there was this man, and his
What
name
was
was
his name?
Chris's dad. And
What was his name?
Chris's dad.
Oh.
Chris's dad was born
Paint me a
from
picture.
Chris's
Paint me a picture. What do you look
from
like?
Chris's dad's dad,
Mhm.
and Chris's dad's mum had Chris's dad,
Yeah.
and Chris's dad was like, I feel like I should be the strongest man who's ever lived.
Chris's dad.
Yeah.
When he was
Chris's
born,
dad
he said
this.
that.
When he was born, he said that in the exact
Okay.
voice. He said,
Yeah.
I'm going to be the strongest man who's ever lived. And then as he grew older, he worked out every day, and he became very strong. And then one day, a woman came up to him, who was Chris's mum, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I like look at you. You look strong." And Chris Dabb's like, yes, I'm the strongest man who's ever lived. So they fucked and they had Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Chris came out and he was like, oh man, it's Chris, yeah. That was his first words.
Okay.
And then they lived together in a house, but that house had a basement.
Okay.
And in that basement, Chris's dad was like, yes, I will be the greatest, strongest man who's ever lived, but also I will be a good father. So I'm going to build a gym in the basement, so that my son doesn't see me working out and become jealous of my fine muscles.
Okay.
So he worked out in the basement every day.
Mm-hmm.
But then as Chris grew up, he became distant from his father because he didn't know the way of the workout. So he went down there one day, and he knocked on the wooden paneling of the basement. And he was like, "Papa, father, dearest."
Why does he change his voice?
Yeah, he's got a different voice because this is when Chris is like a bit older, so his voice changed for a brief period. When Chris was born, he sounded like he does now. Then for like a few years, he sounds like a weird, overly posh British child. And then he went back to his normal voice again. It was a phase. He was trying it out. And then he knocked on the wooden paneling. He was like, "Papa, what are you doing down there?" He's like, yes, son, I am working out. Would you like to watch and put oil on my muscles?" And from then on, Chris oiled his daddy's muscles every day, and he became powerful as well.
That's it. End of.
Yeah, like just from like putting the oil on his dad's muscles, he absorbed some of the power. That's what happened. Yeah. That's why Chris is as powerful as he is today, and also why he's blind in one eye, because one day he powered up so much his eye got fucked up.
That's true.
Anyway, Reese.
That's canon.
Reese.
Oliver.
What are you more happy with, my Scooby-Doo story or Jordan's Chris's story?
Well, Jordan's Chris story was more like made up, and
every book is made up, Reese.
yeah, but Jordan made it up himself. Yours was just reading from a book you got from like the
I said some words wrong, so it's not in the book. So technically, it's made up.
To be fair, I didn't make that up. I just know about the history of Chris's dad. You know, I'm just a scholar in that department. I've put a lot of my time and effort into researching it.
Alright, so what would everyone like to do for next week's episode?
I was thinking about maybe doing cults.
I was thinking about cults last week.
Yeah, cults be cool.
Yeah.
You cool with that, Reese?
And
I'm sure the fans want to know, but when are we going to do Mothman as well?
That's going to have to be a
10?
special. I think we're on episode 10.
Not episode 10.
Might have to be an April Fool's special.
No, the April Fool's special is going to be legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to wait until April has a baby.
Harsh. You say it's going to be a fool. You're going to say it's going to be a fool.
No.
Oh, what? So the birth of my child is going to be the Mothman episode.
Yeah.
When I'm not there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Alright, so cults, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That means, Reese, you're going to have to actually study. You have to crack.
Could do it on the main cult everyone knows about.
Oh, yeah.
The flying spaghetti monster.
Is that the
Flat Earthers, ain't it?
The cult of the...
Flat Earth,
Oh, yeah.
Chris,
They might as
Chris
well be a
likes
cult.
that, to be fair.
I like bloody shitting on it.
Chris, you're doing Scientology, yeah?
Yeah, I can do something.
I'm gonna do.
It's a religion, not a cult. God.
I'm gonna do.
Same thing, isn't it?
I'm gonna do scary cult.
I'm going to do the cult of Chris's dad.
Okay, all right. Thank you for staying tuned for this horrendous episide, guys.
I
Sorry,
don't know how you
Oliver.
still
If you
tune
sat
in.
through it, say I sat through this crap in the comments,
Yeah. Write that in the comments.
and then just unsubscribe.
I sat through this. But ISTTC in the
Hit
comments.
the thumbs up. Let us know if you actually want us to do more random episodes. We'll do occasional spooky, serious episodes, but we're gonna add a little bit more humour into it, I think.
Yeah.
Have some random episodes where we just...
Yeah, we're gonna just we could do just random episodes.
Yeah, we'll do that classic episode where we read all of the McDonald's fucking Scooby-Doo books.
There's only 2. I read you 80% of that
Short episode then.
Alright, so thank you for joining us, guys. Hit the like.
It's
please
alright, Ollie.
subscribe.
Don't worry, Oliver.
And thank you
That's
guys
his
for
full
joining
name.
us. Thank you.
This
for doing
is your address.
Shut up, you knobhead.
Cheers, Shackers.
Cheers, fellas.
Thanks, Shackers. Shackers.
Reese, give us an outro. End it.
No.
Done.